What's up guys, Miles here with MCU Exchange, and clearly you've seen the news today. According to Deadline and a bunch of other big trade sites, Sony and Disney have cut ties and Spider-Man is no longer going to be in the MCU. So what does that mean exactly? So just for everyone that isn't in the know, way back when, it was probably around late 2014, early 2015, Sony and Disney struck a deal that would allow Spider-Man to be in the MCU films, meaning in the Avengers films, the Captain America Civil War, Endgame, Infinity War, all that good stuff, because even further back when Marvel wasn't doing so well financially, they sold a bunch of their properties to other companies. So that's why you have Fantastic Four being with Fox, you've got Spider-Man with Sony and all of that Spider-Man IP. But essentially with the deal they struck, they can use Spider-Man characters within the MCU films. But that was only going to last for 5 films, and we all knew this from day one. Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Spider-Man Far From Home, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Avengers Endgame. 5 films, and that's it. After that, a contract is going to have to be renewed, or like we see today, the contract has to end. Obviously, I'm pretty upset about this, and pretty much everyone else is. Everyone is calling Sony dumb and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But really, when you look at how the deal fell apart, both sides are kind of in the wrong. According to Deadline, Disney wanted a 50% co-financing agreement with Sony, which of course Sony was not going to agree to. That's way higher above what they initially agreed to for the first contract, because Disney essentially wasn't making any money off of the solo Spider-Man films. It was just basically a bunch of other stuff, Spider-Man related, that they would get revenue from. So essentially, Disney got too big for their britches and asked for a little bit more than what Sony was willing to compromise with. Basically, it's all about money in this sort of situation, and that's how the deal fell apart. So the question is, what happens now? So firstly, that Aunt May and Happy Hogan chick flick you were hoping for, it's probably never going to see the light of day. And essentially, all the MCU aspects of Spider-Man are going to be stripped from the films. So according to Deadline and rumors, there are still apparently 2 Spider-Man films in development, with John Watts set to direct both. But there essentially won't be any Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff within that. So there's going to be no Iron Man, no Captain America, none of it. And to an extent, that's a small percentage of what made the Spider-Man films great. The last 2, just given how well connected they are with the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. It allowed for much more complex storytelling. It allowed, I mean, think about how Spider-Man Far From Home and Homecoming, the plot threads essentially relied on other MCU characters, aka Iron Man and the Avengers. So without that, it's going to be quite interesting to see how Sony handles the character. But to be quite honest, I am pretty scared because, you know, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, Venom, all 3 not great Spider-Man films at all, at least in my opinion. So the future does not bode well from a creative standpoint. I'm sure the movies are going to make a crap ton of money, and Tom Holland is still Tom Holland, but if you've got, you know, basically a bad production team behind the films, things aren't going to be that great anymore. So that's as far as what's going to happen on the Sony side. What's going to happen with Marvel, which essentially is not going to have a Spider-Man anymore, because, you know, before Endgame was released, Kevin Feige said a lot of stuff about how essentially Spider-Man was going to be at the forefront of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was going to lead us into Phase 4 and beyond. And now it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anymore. No fault to Feige at all. This is essentially a Disney-Sony corporate problem. Feige's just a producer. So as far as what they're going to do in the MCU without Spider-Man, I'm not entirely sure. But just how Feige had a plan B for if Spider-Man couldn't be in the MCU to begin with, I'm sure he's got a plan B for this situation in case the deal doesn't work out and they can't renew their contract to get more MCU Spider-Man. So where they're going to go from that, I don't know, because Spider-Man Far From Home left on such a huge cliffhanger. But essentially, if they continue with that plot, they're going to have to strip all the MCU stuff out of it, which is gonna suck and not make a lot of sense. It's gonna be a lot of work for the guys over at Sony in terms of a creative aspect, which I'm not sure they can handle.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him.
Yeah. But yeah, this is quite sad to see, but don't lose hope just yet, because as we've seen in the past, sometimes, you know, fan outcry in mass amounts can bode for change. So think about James Gunn when he was fired from Disney for tweets he tweeted like 10 years ago or whatever. Now he's back. Think about the Sonic trailer. When that trailer came out and everybody memed the hell out of it. Now they're starting from scratch in terms of the character's design. So clearly companies can listen if you just make it known that you want what you want and you're going to get what you want. Because that's how they get money. Giving you what you want is what gets them money at the end of the day. They need you. So make your voice heard. Go on Twitter, tweet at Sony, tweet at Disney, tweet at Marvel. I'm sure Tom Holland is just being flooded with stuff right now, and he'll have a statement soon. I'm sure Feige will have a statement soon as far as what's going to happen. But yeah, just make your voice heard, and maybe things can change, just maybe. But for now, the future is looking quite dark for our favorite webhead, and I'm honestly scared for how the next 2 Spider-Man films are going to be. But I guess we're just going to have to see. Hopefully things aren't too bad. But that's pretty much it for this video. If this gives a bit of clarification as to what's going on, what's going to happen, I hope I accomplished that goal. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe for future content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.